I'm going to ask Mohamed Saloo in just a wee while to sort of explain a little bit about where the Batley Poets come from. I joined up with the Batley Poets 3 or 4 years ago when I met up with Mohammed at the Big Iftar in Batley, when a few of the Batley Poets, himself included, did a little performance as part of the celebrations. And my wife said to me, "You like a bit of poetry, why don't you go and ask him if he can join?" So afterwards, I sought out Mohammed and said, "How do I join the Batley Poets?" And Mohammed said, "Do you like poetry?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, you're in then." So that's where we are with that one. About 2 or 3 weeks later, I attended a reading at Batley Library, and I really enjoyed it. I had an absolute great time, and there was cake. And I've been stuck with me ever since. So that's my little backstory. As I say, I'll ask Mohammed to give us a bit of history at the end as well. The format of today is we've got now, including myself, we've got 10 poets in attendance. So I'm going to ask each poet in a round robin format to do a poem each in turn, or possibly a couple of the short ones. We've got a bit of flexibility later on. Each poet can give a little preamble, if they wish, from where they come from a faith perspective, but that's entirely optional. And hopefully in about an hour's time, we'll break for 10 minutes for a brew, and then come back and do a second round robin and wind up on about the 2-hour mark. We've got a bit of flexibility, sort of 4 or 5 minutes either way. The aims of Interfaith Week are, broadly speaking, to strengthen relationships between the faiths at all levels, to increase awareness of each other's faith perspective. Now, do we have anybody from the Hindu faith with us at the moment? No, but obviously one of the awareness is that it's actually Diwali week this week, the Festival of Lights. So it's a shame with no one here to explain that to us, because that's something I don't know anything at all about. I think Hinduism is something that I'm very much got a blind spot about, though I did do a little bit of reading about it recently. And again, the third aim and objective of Interfaith Week is to increase the understanding of each other's faiths, which just always helps, I think, in terms of community cohesion, which is a big thing for Mohammed, I think I'm right in saying. So, Mohammed, if you want to just give us a quick background on the history of Batley Poets, and I will shut up for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Jem, for that introduction and for hosting today as well. It's not that we've thrown him the ball and because we don't want it, but no, he will do a fantastic job, and I'm sure at the end of it we will all agree on that. Yeah, so Batley Poets date back as far as 2012 in the old ancient times. We remember, the pre-COVID times. In that time, Mark Griffin at the first Batley Festival organised a poetry session at the Batley Library in the reference room, and that's where it all begins, really. And then in 2013, there was another session, and I joined in at that time, mainly because of my friendship with Mark, and it was the first time that I read, and I was inspired by it. And then in 2014, Bilal joined, and he read for the first time, and he was inspired by it. And we thought, well, this is something that we want to do more of, and we want to give more people the opportunity. So I always say, to me, Batley Poets is about giving bedroom poets the platform to share their poetry, and never so much more than in the recent sessions we've had, where most of our poets have actually been in their bedrooms sharing poetry. So I've obviously foreseen all of this many years prior to, but it's been fantastic. And in 2017. To give you a little bit of a background on the growth of the Batley Poets. So 2014, we decided that okay, we're going to have this group called the Batley Poets. There's no formal membership or anything like that. We kind of like just have the sessions. We find pennies from somewhere to be able to accommodate things, and it is all about giving people an opportunity, and that's what I genuinely wanted to do. I myself had been writing from the age of 13. It wasn't until the age of 42 that I read publicly for the first time, and I want to give people an opportunity much sooner, or even later. And so 2014, we decided to have Batley Poets as a group. In 2017, Bilal approached us and said, I want to make a website. And me and Mark, being as old as we are, thought, yeah, well, go on then. And he did. And subsequently, I think we've got about 70 odd poets on there. We've got about just short of 300 poems. We've worked with 480 pupils in schools. We've released the Bards of Batley a few years ago to celebrate 150 years since Batley became a borough. We're now seeing, as Jem will tell you a bit later as well, we're now seeing poets publishing their own work or being published as well. So it's been a wonderful journey, and we have got a link with the interfaith sessions that have been taking place, because I think 2015, we actually worked with the Kirklees Cohesion team, and the Kirklees Cohesion team is actually supporting today's event as well. And we did the interfaith session in Batley Library at that time, and we've continued it as an annual event since. So I'm really pleased that we've been able to do this, and it's always really, really nice to see new people and hear new people's hear the poetry from people I've never heard before. Because I was asked a question. I was on a panel last month for Black History Month, and I was asked a question: which poets would you recommend? And I said, well, I'd recommend going to sessions and listening to people you've never heard before, because you'll be amazed at how much talent there is there, and it will take you back. So anyway, so that's the brief on Batley Poets. Really delighted. A big thank you to Jem for hosting today. Big thank you for Bilal, who's organized all of this. I'll do thank yous at the end as well, but that's my little brief today.
Thanks for that, Mohammed. You caught me a bit surprised with your sudden cessation then. I noticed that we've got someone logged in called Lantern Carrier who said hello on the chat facility. Now, I've got two black screens with Lantern Carrier, but no face or ID. So, Lantern Carrier, would you mind shedding light on who you are? Ah, Kingsley. Is it Kingsley?
Yes, I'm Kingsley. I'm the Lantern Carrier.
Good stuff.
I'm known as the Lantern Carrier.
Okay.
My poetry reflects that, actually. So I carry that on the London scene for the last 17 years.
Right.
I do a lot of performance poetry, but I'm also a mystical poet, which is my main genre, really.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I'd like to do some poems for you if the opportunity arises.
Absolutely. I'm just going to go through the running order in a second, Kingsley, so thanks for joining us. Just as an aside, we've got two screens for you.
I was going to touch
and the laptop.
I was going to touch on that, actually. I've done maybe about 40 different Zooms.
Oh,
and
right.
I use the desktop as a background because I like making comments. And
I'm with you.
People love my comments, but it doesn't interfere in any way because it's silent.
Right, I'm with you.
It has never been a problem.
I'm with you. That's absolutely fine. I just wondered if you're aware you were logged in twice, and I understand perfectly your rationale, as it were. So that's fine.
Yeah. And I like to show my face, which is on the cell, so which means I need to.
Right. Okay. You've got onto your camera now, then.
Yes.
So we have 11 people so far. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it sort of a bit like Celebrity Squares and go around the order on my screen in terms of the running order. And the order I've got is going to be, if Bilal wants to keep count of this as well, it's Bilal, me, Mohammed, Jim, Colin, Trevor, Richard, Jackie, Mohammed Barber, Anne, and finally, last but not by no means least, Kingsley. So we'll do it in that order.
Carrier.
Lantern Carrier.
Yes.
I shall bear that in mind because that's, as you say, that's what you're known as. So that's fine. Lantern Carrier. Okay. And I'll sort of.
It is changed. On the cell, it says Lantern Carrier.
Ah, got you. Yes, I've got that here. That's fine. Yeah. So, if I could just ask, as from, so I suppose now, if anybody who's not doing a poem. If we can all mute and sort of applaud silently, that'd be great. I'll include myself in that. So, Bilal, are you ready to do the first reading?
So
Great stuff. Okay.
I didn't expect to be first, but yeah.
Yeah, you're
I'm
first
fine.
on my screen. If you like, I can go first and then switch round.
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, I'll go first, then you're second in that case, Bilal, if that's all right. Right. I'll start, and if everybody else could just mute so we don't get any background noise, that'd be lovely. This one, it's one of the longer ones, which none of mine are very long. It was written for a friend. Bit of a sad tale behind it. A 14-year-old son had died quite suddenly the previous year, and she asked me to write something about new beginnings. But it actually became, if you like, a bit of a meditation on some of the different spiritual faiths. So I thought it was appropriate to start with this one this week. It's called True Faith 2020. King Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes that to everything there is a season. It follows that in life and death there is a purpose and a reason. As we sow, so shall we reap, said St. Paul in Galatians. The world turns, weather changes, that holds true for every nation. Life's cycle is universal and will always prove a test. But are we less well equipped for this in the culture of the West? Have we lost sight of spiritual truths in our quest for material wealth? Perhaps the absence of shared faith leads to the primacy of self. Islam requires faith and fasting, alms, pilgrimage and prayer. Allah doesn't burden a soul beyond that it can bear. Mohammed has but one name, Allah 99. If you profess Shahada, paradise is surely thine. In Buddhism, each morning we are born anew. It's said that evil must exist so that good can prove it's true. There's reincarnation, karma, and the Four Noble Truths. No deity, just nirvana, of which enlightenment is proof. Samsara tells us that all our possessions today all belong to another only yesterday. They will belong to another as soon as tomorrow. Meanwhile, what did it bring us, if not grief and sorrow? The Guru Nanak tells us to burn love, the ink to fuel our pen. We hope and pray for happiness, but pain steps forward then. When we do wrong to another, we should strive to regain their trust. Our souls are liberated as our bodies turn to dust. Zeno of Elea said our goal is to live in agreement with nature. Viruses give not a single damn for our human legislature. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. We complain our days are numbered, but waste the few we have to spend. Thank you. And thank you very much. And on that note, it's Bilal's turn.
Thanks. Thanks, Jem. Just took me a minute to find what I was going to read out. This poem I read a few weeks ago at our previous get together, and it was something that I found was I was going through some papers and clearing up, as I think I've been doing throughout this entire lockdown. I did have a title. It was just written down on a scrap piece of paper. We can hold our morals to our hearts. We can say we would, but when the time arrives, did we do all we could? We can write the long letters, penning our names proud, but when we're asked our actions, will our mouths make a sound? We can speak the inspirational words to stir the people one and all, but when they seek our help, do we hear their desperate call? We can lead the revolutionary crowds, promoting our soul's cause, but when we leave streets empty, do we not just highlight our flaws? We can say we are the givers, the ones who have given a chance, but when the given change, do we even cast a glance? Thank you.
Thank you, Bilal. I'm just working my way through the screen. And next up, if you want to get ready, is going to be Mohammed Saloo.
Thank you, Jem.
Okay.
Have I muted, unmuted? Right. I know Jem said at the start as well about mentioning about faith, and I am a Muslim. I'm a Batley born and bred. I'm a born and bred Batley lad. Lived in Batley. Started off with Taylor Street, a wonderful place, and moved up to Mount Pleasant, and I've been in Mount Pleasant now since 1976 of all times. And I suppose as a poet, I do write about all sorts, and I do write some which are faith-based poems, and I do write things that are more local to my town and things that are more personal to me. So today, my first poem is going to be something that is, in the loosest term, more personal to me. I took up running in recent months. And one of the things you realize when you're running, do you know on the footpath you've got where people have done the cable laying or whatever, pipes and everything else, and there's that tarmac line that runs down the footpath. For some reason, I end up running in that, and it becomes my lane. So it's called the runner's trap. So I hope you enjoy this. I am fixated, without a doubt, though I try to break free. The trench covered over in tar is the lane that's running me. Is it electric, maybe gas, or water, or TV? Whatever it is, one thing's for sure, it's the lane that's got my feet. I try to veer left, even right, but it's the only lane I see. My running shoes can't escape the madness of this girlie. In middle of left, in red tarmac, a groove paved out wobbly. It runs above just slightly high than what they used to be. I follow the lane along the path, even under a cherry blossom tree. Like ultraviolet light to flies, that's what it is to me. At last I reach the flagstone path. The lane run ends, I'm free. Or at least I thought it had until the flags draw lanes for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. That's lovely. How's the running going? What are we up to now? Have we got to the 5K yet?
We have gone past 5K. I must admit, the weather's been putting me off of late and other things. But yes, I'm confident at running at about 40 minutes without taking a break. And started with 1 minute, and that was difficult.
I don't think I've done that for at least 30 years, so well done you. All right.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jim. And Jim, if you want to give a little bit of a preamble on the nature of faith to you personally, by all means do. Over to Jim.
Thank you, Jem. Well, I was brought up in a very mild religious household. We had birth, marriage, and death about the only time I went to church. But for some reason, I was different. I started going to church about 10 and kept that up for quite some time. About 30 years since, maybe more now, I was asked to teach comparative religion at a school. And so I did a fair bit of research in order to do that. And it made me see that we're all linked. We may have different ways of expressing it, but we're all linked together. And that's my background. A few years back, 2015, I was asked to contribute to an event like this one at the Interfaith Centre, sorry, not the Interfaith Centre, at the Delius Centre in Bradford. And I came up with a poem which I'm about to offer unto you. Based on the Lord's Prayer, I call it Deliver Us from Evil. As a child, I would often pray, give us this day our daily bread. I thought I knew the truth that lay behind those words I blithely said. To feed us and clothe us was my juvenile interpretation. There was no fuss about this oft-repeated declaration. Bread is a so-called staff of life, but it comes in so many shapes and forms. We accept them all without strife, despite our preferred norms. But earthly folk are different too, in oh so many amazing ways. All sizes, shapes and colours we view, as we go our different ways. So as with bread, ignore the shape, heed the goodness we know is there, and with every race and colour and creed, enjoy the world we share. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a lovely intro as well. Thank you very much, Jim. And the next I have on my list is Colin. Are you ready, Colin? Don't forget to unmute yourself, mate.
Done it. I'm not used to this. Yes, I came to Batley Poets a few years after most of the others. It was Mark Griffin who invited me along. He saw me standing at the back when I was listening, and he said, "Everyone's a Batley poet, you should join." He said, "It's so easy, even I could do it." And I thought that was very unflattering to the Batley poets, to be honest. But anyway, I wrote a poem, I read it at the next meeting, and I've been an intermittent Batley poet ever since then. Regarding faith, I was raised as a Methodist. I'm not a regular church attender, but my heart is still with Methodism. But since school days, I've always been interested in exploring other faiths as well, and looking for the common factors between what we're taught to believe in and what the people around us, some of the people around us, believe in. And the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that we all believe in the same creator anyway. It's just different ways of looking at it. Right, it's my first poem here that I'm going to read today. I wrote it 2 weeks ago when I was in quite a deep depression. And it struck me that everybody's feeling the same at the moment because we're all living under the same rules. Life isn't very great for any of us. But I wrote a poem about it, and as I was writing, I started to feel a bit better, and it became a bit more positive. And by the end, it's quite upbeat. It's a testament to the healing power of poetry, I suppose. It's called 50 Shades. We live in monochrome times. The world is turning grey. Everywhere I look, the colour is leaching away. Developers build grey houses. Grey are the windows, the doors, the roofs. Greyness advances through the land, and older houses turn grey with envy. Then even their colourful gardens disappear, supplanted by paving or concrete for parking their many grey cars. As with the squirrels, so with the towns, the grey intruder silently usurps the colours that were there before. Our future looks grey from where we stand. Our very lives are frighteningly dependent on random decisions from grey people, making rules even they don't comprehend. When asked for clarity on specifics, a grey-faced man on TV, in a rare moment of honesty, admitted it was a grey area. We are slowly becoming brainwashed to accept the advancing grey. Even the hair on our heads betrays us and follows the trend. I watched an old film recently. It took me about 20 minutes to realise it was black and white. From my window, I see a neighbour walk down the street. Rebellious, he is dressed in shades of beige, but his name is Graham. Every morning, I give thanks to nature, who famously abhors a vacuum, but also isn't very fond of grey. Skies sometimes, and limestone crags, but all else is glorious, ever-changing colour. The seasons display a palette of shades unachievable by any artist, and all provided free of charge if we only care to look. Open your eyes and see colours. Thank you.
That was lovely. Thank you, Colin. I don't think I've heard that before, have you? Is that one you've just written?
It's hot off the press, 2 weeks old.
Do you know, he
ink's
does
still
this
wet.
every time. He does this every time, and it's always worth. I'm not just saying this; it's always worth hearing one of your new ones. You blow me away every time. So thanks for that, Colin. Excellent. Next on my list, if you're ready, I have Trevor.
Yes, I was brought up back in the 50s, 60s, 70s in Belfast in the Church of Ireland, and I ended up really not seeing any of the point of religion because all they were trying to do was kill each other. So I went away and I've sort of generally lived my life by the golden rule sort of thing, do as you would be done by. Anyway, this first part is a very short poem. It's called Embers. Dreams are in the embers, in shimmering red heat. The subtle settling of ashes reinforces the illusion of movement. Unfocused eyes fix on flickering flames. The acrid tang of burning turf warms my weariness, wraps around me like a comfort blanket. Faded memories safely swaddled in the reassuring glow.
Very good. I like the alliteration in that, Trevor. Thanks very much. Okay, we're going at a cracking pace. I have next of all, for some reason, we seem to have switched around on my screen. And I've got Richard next, but I can't see Richard. He seems to have dropped out. I wonder if he's lost connection.
Sometimes there's that with zebras, but he'll probably be back.
Right, okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll skip, if we can, to Jackie. Unless that's... No? Are you okay, Jackie, to go ahead now?
Yes, I am unmuted now.
Great stuff. If you can step on, we'll have you now, if that's okay.
Okay. A little about perhaps my faith, which is probably doesn't fit into the norm. I am a pagan. I embrace everybody's faiths, and because I'm quite eclectic, I take the best. But through paganism, nature really is my church. The trees, the beauty of nature, etc. That's very, very important to me. But also how we treat each other. And my Batley Poets experience, which has gone on quite a bit now, has been amazing because I've met the most genuine and caring souls ever. And they're all brilliant poems. So my poem is called Moon. Those of you who have gone to Batley Poets a lot will know this poem, but I just thought it fits in. Okay, Moon. You are watching, always watching, near to me, far from me, pulling in invisible time. You dominate the dark with silver touches, shaping shadows, revelations of myths long ago. You are the enigma sent from galaxies far, waxing and waning in liquid black night. Reflections of those taken too soon, gone from our sight, lost to the moon. Thank you.
Need to unmute Jem. Jem, you need to unmute.
Thank you, Anne. Am I there? Yeah, okay. Beautiful, Jackie, thank you. I wish I could have that those sort of images in my stuff, but I'm afraid, you know, she's doing the same now. Okay, next we have Mohammed Barber. Mohammed, if you're ready.
Oh, right, okay. I thought I was after Anne, that's why. So I was comfortably sitting down having some water.
If you're comfy, that's fine, you can go ahead.
Yes, here it is. So I've got a piece in regards to faith, kind of with the whole lockdown and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. With the way that sort of religion is practiced and you know, thought about, and faith and all that kind of stuff kind of, I find that I have my differences with my parents. My parents have a very, you know, they're very sure about what they believe and what they know and all that kind of stuff, which is great. Me, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more of a ditherer. Sometimes I'm not quite sure, you know, what to believe. A bit more reflective, I suppose. But it's just interesting for me to see someone who's kind of completely sure in her bones about everything. So this is it's sort of a theme sort of based on that, really. So this is called "This is a Punishment from Allah," but I promise you it's not as depressing as it sounds. This is a punishment from Allah for our sins, informs Mum with such assurance, like she holds the key to truth in possession of real knowledge, the hand that spins the world, known to those few with faith who with enlightened minds and spurred by burden and duty must save her family who live not in ignorance of that knowledge from God, but in arrogance instead, which is much worse. It is worse to know and do nothing than to not know at all. God's wrath comes to the faithful in a darker storm. Come virus, earthquake, or other, her surety is her faithful armor. Mine is the sword that may damn me, a sight she cannot bear to see for all eternity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. And you were right there. We actually skipped one, didn't we? Because Richard has now joined us again. So I'll get back into sequence. And if Richard, if you're ready, we can.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute myself and I cut myself off.
Don't do that. So, Richard, it's your turn if you're ready, sir.
And it's very painful. I was brought up Church of England, confirmed, but now I'd say I'm agnostic. So I'll get over that. And this short poem is called The Deal. If life were a pack of cards, I'd smile at what I've been dealt. Aces and faces of every suit. I'm so lucky that I've always felt. Now I've seen the cards in your hand, and no matter how they're played, your fear and sadness I now understand. It makes no difference which are laid. No more I see that cheery smile, nor the glint in your eye. If I could cut and deal again, fix the cards for you, banish the fears and dry your tears, this I would surely do. And that's it. Try and mute myself.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. That was lovely, and I love the I don't know, the vernacular way you did that. Then it was lovely. Thank you. Right. So we next have Anne.
Unmute first.
Are you ready for us, Anne?
Yes,
yeah?
yes,
Great.
I am.
Okay.
I was the grandchild of Irish immigrants, so I was brought up Catholic, but since then I've drifted away from organised religion and opened up to anything and everything. So here's my poem. It's a very short one called Serenity. The utter joyful, humbling, empowering, knowing, we are as dust motes lit by the sun, wholly part of the whole.
Thank you, Anne. That was a brief one. Thanks ever so much. And yes, I think we might even get 2 rounds in before the first break at this rate. We're doing very well. Thank you. And now we have next Lantern Carrier. Are you with us? Are you ready for your first poem, Lantern Carrier?
It's gone again.
He's with us because he's just
Okay, right.
Are you there,
right,
sir?
I've finally managed to unmute. It seems people are doing short pieces. I generally have an idea of how long I have. Is it 1 poem, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? What is it? I can't hear you.
Yeah, 2 or 3 minutes is absolutely fine.
Okay. So, right. I will go for 3 short poems. I once sealed my memory. I'm sorry. I'll go for 1 poem. You, whose lips scribbled 1,000 kisses on my soul, sung 100 ballads in my heart, come. You, a bouquet of 1,000,000 roses flooding my coat with a river of joy, come. You, who made my eyes gaze at the color of words, dance with fireflies in the hue of moonlight, permeating the shooting stars of heaven, come. You, an empress steeped with berries in a river of wine, holding dialogue in the court of Troy to address the grandeur of beauty nonpareil, come. I see you, cheeks tasting the sublimity of charisma, smile aligned to the synergy of the sun, words sweetly intoxicated by the grapes of Tuscany, scripting the resonance of symphonies in each beating pulse. You, that sweet redolence of the jasmine, that healing solace of twinkling stars, drawing me inward to your opulence and the love, come. It is enough that you weave a tapestry of light. It is enough that I immortalize your eloquence with the deserving brush and easel blessed. The Tao follows its natural order, painting the rainbow with the pageantry of shades. You carved your lips under fire in my essence, erasing the nights in the agony of my longing. Your sweet gaze and hazel brown eyes tugged fiercely at the dragon in my soul. Lost in my amnesia, I encountered the haziness of dreams, your cute gentleness churning my core into sugarcane juice. Aye, what a banquet in this garden of delight. Sweet tenderness. In this hallucinatory state, I am your oasis, with the sand as my destiny. But your breath is the sand, my oasis, your perennial nectar. I see you, walking on the lap of moonlight, riding on the crest of tomorrows, pulling at the carousel of the sun. You take me to the wakefulness of another virgin dawn. You're in the beauty of dunya, in the fire of Jahannam, the light of Jannah, and the pillars of Hades. Your sweet cheeks adorn the sacred drops of my river of tears, beautify the agonies and the vast emptiness of my abyss. You, who painted the lapis lazuli of heaven for my delight. Come, Mountain Carrier, thank you.
Lyrical and very lovely. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Lantern Carrier.
Thank you.
We've got 20 minutes left till the top of the hour, as it were. I sound like a DJ now, aren't I? So we might not get a full round in, but I don't know. Should we go for until 2 o'clock and then break and carry on? Is that okay for everyone? Yeah. A couple of things have come up, I suppose. First of all, we talked about our introductions to faith, and I don't think I sort of said where I was coming from, as it were. I'm actually, I always define as a Methodist, not as a Christian, but always first as a Methodist. And I was introduced to the faith by my nana, who I was very close to, but we lost her when I was 4. But before we lost her, she took pains to have me baptized. And at a time when I was nearly 4 years old, and could give my own responses, she was very firm that I should be able to give my own responses and understand the process I was going through. And I'm utterly convinced to this day that she knew her time with me was limited, and she wanted to make sure that she gave me faith before she went. So I had that to rely on in later life. And 15 or so years ago, I returned to my faith, and it's been a great support ever since. And I did worship at Cleckheaton for quite a long time. I recently switched to Batley, but of course now we've not been able to go to chapel since March, so it's something I've really been missing. But I'm going to start off with a poem to my nana, because it was her that, as I say, introduced me to my faith, and then I'll do a very quick cheeky one about the 10 Commandments, because we've had a version of the Lord's Prayer, so I'll have a version of the 10 Commandments as well. And this is just called Nana. With the bosom of Yorkshire and the lap the size of Wales, she spoke to me of God above and the love that never fails. You can write this on a badge, you can paint this on a banner. I'm 60 years old and I still love my nana. Mary Amelia Robinson liked to wind me up. She said if I planted bacon rind, that pigs would soon grow up. That wicked sense of humour became her precious legacy, along with a passion for literature and poetry as therapy. She left us on a winter's night in 1963. Her death, a sudden seismic shock, especially to me. I didn't know where she had gone. I was only 4. but she had put a plan in motion for what my life had in store. 27th of May 1962, she arranged her grandson's baptism, and 41 years later, I returned to Methodism. Whatever lies in store on his celestial planner, on the day all this returns to dust, I'll still love my nana. Thank you. And this is just something that I don't know, it came up. I decided to do an update of the Ten Commandments and just, I suppose, just update it to modern language and make it, I suppose, a bit cheeky. So this is the alternative Ten Commandments. And it does actually follow line by line if you go through it. Don't worship other gods because I'm the only one, with a parochial exception for my one and only son. Don't pray to statues, golden bulls, or works of art. Just be kind to one another and keep me in your heart. Don't use my name when cursing whilst in a fit of pique. Count to 10, pray silently when serenity you seek. Work hard and rest on Sunday. Chill out with a cup of tea, but try and get to chapel to have a word with me. Respect your mum and dad. May they provide all that you need. And if they live to a ripe old age, you're a lucky one indeed. It goes without saying you shouldn't take another's life. Neither should you fiddle with their husband or their wife. In fact, keep your hands off all their stuff. It isn't yours to use. And don't tell lies about them, even when you're full of booze. Finally, don't covet your mate's car, his house, or socks. And it would just be sick and wrong to lust after his ox. Thank you. We have next up for the second round. It's 1:45, so I think we'll probably manage to get nearly halfway around again. We have Bilal. Have you something ready for us, Bilal?
Yep. So during the lockdown, I think the one thing that's sort of we haven't been able to do is go to libraries, because I like going to the library. I like spending time there. And so this is a poem that I wrote a few years ago, just about that. Today I was a reader of spies and crooks, of fake mustaches, shifting eyes, glancing looks, of swashbuckling pirates and lazy writers, of weather-beaten, downtrodden painters, of comedians trying to create the perfect joke, of hens laying eggs and chefs separating the yolk, of nutritionists weighing out the food we should eat, and of big cats hunting down 200 pounds of meat. Today I was a reader of poets old and new, of a woman going to a dance and losing a shoe, of kings and queens and the lands they ruled, of detectives solving crimes at mysterious schools, of expectant athletes clasping the book of history, of faraway worlds in times I'll never see. Today I was a reader. I've read to my fill. I'll be back again to my library on the hill. Thank you.
Thank you, Bilal. That was lovely. Thank you. And we have next the main man himself, Mohammed Saloo. Are you ready for us, Mohammed?
I am indeed. Where is it? Yes. So my second one is it's too often there's people always assume the stereotype or assume what the news says about a Muslim, as an example, but it actually goes much further than that and crosses across most people. And people just react to, oh, well, that's how they're being portrayed, so that's how he must be. So this is called ordinary. And I'm sure it'll be self-explanatory. So it's called ordinary. We are the ordinary. We move in the visuals of unseen and the audio of unheard because we are the ordinary. We skate around the peripherals of a spotlight, the backdrop on a stage, unnoticed but as a glimpse, unrecognized later, for we are the ordinary. We passed you in the travels of your day, in many places, in many looks. You saw us, we were there, but you didn't notice us, for we are the ordinary. We waited on the platform, the bus stop, in traffic and queues and workplaces, there beside you as normal, though passing by as forgetful, for we are the ordinary. We pushed carts in supermarkets, passing frequently without incident, served you at the checkout, just blurs in your trip, for we are the ordinary. Our lives develop each memory, kept precious in a thought, but not special to you, seen as mundane to most, for we are the ordinary. We are painted in the eyes of the masses as heroes and victims and perpetrators. You see us, not me, in the photo of a crowd, for we are the ordinary. We shouted to be heard from the noise, above the amplified hate. If you'd listened, you'd have heard. But we are the ordinary, the unseen, the unheard, the unnoticed. When will you see? Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. A man who's as far as it's possible to imagine from being ordinary. So there. Next up, if you're ready, we have Jim.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that, Mohammed. Thank you. Remind me of Robert Service's poem, The Ordinary Man. I've got a poem. I can't remember basically what the start was for this poem, but I think it fits. I call it In 100 Years. I know it seems we live in a life beset all round with stress and strife, without a sign of an end to tears, not once in 100 years. Dirt and pollution are everywhere, poisoned water, tainted air. And will the corporations heed our fears? No, not once in 100 years. Everyone insists upon the lion's share. To help each other they would not dare. And for those who try, there's nothing but jeers, except perhaps in 100 years. I pray for a life where all folk care, with consideration abounding everywhere. It seems it's only in my dreams that appears, but maybe in another 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And just keep an eye on the time. Yeah, we've got 10 minutes left, no problem at all. So if Colin is ready. You okay, Colin?
Yes, I'm ready now. Yep.
It is your turn, sir.
It's only a short one. It occurred to me a little while ago that all of us, however mighty or however lowly we are, we get through life by following rules, obeying orders without really thinking about them. So I decided just to collect some of these rules and write them down and make a found poem, because I've been exploring the concept of found poems recently. So in my travels around Kirklees, I collected a lot of signs written mainly for motorists or pedestrians, and I've just rearranged them a bit. It's called Signs, or Why Does Nobody Ever Say Please? No parking, private road, loose chippings, permit parking only, clean up after your dog, keep to the marked footpaths, give way to oncoming vehicles. Unauthorized vehicles will be clamped. No admittance except on business. Stop when lights are flashing. Crossing closed, use diversion. Waiting limited to 1 hour. Park in the marked bays. Keep dogs on a lead. Footpath closed. Access only. Give way. Beware. Slow. Stop. Welcome to Batley. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. That was excellent. I've done a bit of found poetry. I did it sort of based on the shipping forecast, but that's just a verse. I think you just walked around Batley jotting down the signs there, didn't you, really?
I did, yeah.
Excellent, like it. Right, let me have a check. It should be, by my calculation, Trevor now. Are you ready for us, Trevor?
Yes, nearly forgot to unmute. There we go. This is actually in sonnet form, but not holding me to that. I called it Tempus Fugit. I guess it's true we're getting on in years with all the folderol that entails, the much lamented passing of our peers, the aches and pains as our own body fails. More teeth are in a jar than in my mouth, and nowadays I just don't need a comb. So by and large, my life is heading south as my mortality is hammered home. I hate to dwell on thoughts of my demise, so gardening prevents me being bored. But yesterday I came to realize this love of nature is a two-edged sword. I'd like to see the budding daisy shoots, but not from the perspective of the roots.
Crikey, we're cracking through the short ones today. Thank you, Trevor. You caught me by surprise again there. That was lovely. As you probably saw me laughing in the background there.
Sonnet form, 14 lines.
There's beauties in the brevity, of course, isn't it? Right, and next up then we have, should be Richard, actually. Are you ready for us, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Right. This has got a bit of Irish included in it. And the reason I did this was I went to a meeting and it was all in a foreign language and I couldn't understand. So I decided I'd do some with, but it's English with a bit of Gaelic mixed in. So if you don't understand it, that's two of us. Right. It's called Mad Roo Madder. In the glen and through the valley, on the wind, the song did carry. Was it the loon, Vincid Hal, Asal, or Mulari? Mad Roo Madder down the gilded sally, the sunset dirg. Cueru fled across the silhouetted hills that bled. Mad Roo Madder did prowl. In the cottage, by the hearth, Grimmelkin sat. On the table, a poor man's feast. Rubens, Aaron, and Bonya, all discarded, he'd heard the beast. Looking out from the stable door, wide-eyed and trembling, the old man swore, and still Mad Roo Madder did prowl. Down the valley near the sea, an impecunious poor old biddy. On the table, almost bare, Barnia was her fare. All alone, she recalled, lying back, racked in pain, almost going insane. Lockyer drenched, sweat covered. Here, her family had she mothered. Her children now all gone away. Alone in her tent she did stay. Prowling, Mad Roo Madder did howl. No longer the valley full of children's laughter. Cutting by the fire. Her husband long since passed away. His sons and daughters to distant lands did stray. Banshee wailing like the wind. Mad Roo Madder now cowering. Laying wearily on her bed, she sees clearly in her head the teaching as in days gone by. Hunched in Inglenook, her husband, chewing crannock, his face glowing in the fire's light. Kettle hung over the smouldering turf, lid with steam dancing for all its worth. These memories of fabled halcyon days, warmed in time's passing haze, now slowly fading. The banshee's wailing, it fills the night, still cowering, Mad Roo Madder trembling, silent, Vincidal silent. The old man left the stable door and sat down to his meal once more. His eyes and Gremilkin's met. Down the valley near the sea, in the sooty hearth, the blackened kettle cooled. The fire at last gone out. That's that. Thank you.
Can I just ask, you sort of did that, you would, as you say, bits of Gaelic in there. Did you sort of research the words? How did you do that?
Well, I knew somebody in a place called Ballinakil in Western Ireland, and they told me the words to use. So I probably pronounced them all wrong.
It doesn't matter. It sounds like there's a lot of effort in there. Well done. Thank you. It probably is as good as any time. It's 2 minutes to actually break for a quick brew. Are we all in favour with that? Yeah. Okay. If we sort of convene back at 10 past and aim to get going about 15:15, and by my calculations, next up is going to be Jackie. If you're not back, Jackie, we'll start without you. Okay. All right. See you all in 10-15 minutes. Thank you. Thanks for now.
With the chatter of nature's early risings, the earth
A beautiful soul has left us a legacy of care, wise words to teach acceptance, spread compassion everywhere.
Bringing together our differences can sometimes surprise us all. That which we thought divided us may well be a uniting call.
Embracing that spirit of unity, Batley folk of all faiths and none will strengthen our community and work and play as one.
Like our love of food and poetry, the Wilton Park we call Batley Park. Our community unites in Batley. Diverse volunteers make their mark.
Togetherness is more than just a word. We've more in common. We should not divide. Stigmatising others is absurd. Behind the mask, we're all the same inside.
Alone the single straw shall surely split. Bound together is where it finds its might. Wrap yourself in the weighted patchwork quilt, for all our skins feel the cold of the night.
With the chatter of nature's early risers, the earth revolves a new spring morn, excited, inspired, promising more surprises. Rebirth, reborn, my day to join.
And now we stand in togetherness. Holding hands we pray for all. We fought the divided foolishness. United we shall not fall.
A spirit of community we won't forsake. Ties of friendships we won't sever. These bonds will not break. Not now, not ever.
We are not defined by our singular threads, but the woven fabric that makes the quilt. In its multitude of shades and rich deep depths, our stories are one, our purpose fulfilled. Together.
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 Tomorrow will be better.
When I write poetry, it has to be from my heart.
Language of the poetry is same, it is universal. In which language you write, poetry means poetry, expressions of what you are thinking. And it's a beauty of mankind. I think without poetry, I don't know how the people can do it.
Yet standing and waiting in darkening decline, your legacy neglected by the town that you fed. You still hold the spirit of loss and dark grief of children who laboured and ailed.
Jamse mehfil haji, panabenda hoishu. Cha amaru naam walaito kewaina. Ot berti jem che apra sabunto, pan havejo lagni chalkai to kewaina.
A future to look to, a future we trust, where backing our town will remain a must. So thrive, Batley thrive. Spread the word far and wide. That Batley's diversity fills us with pride.
We can't stop thinking about it all, to dissect or not by giving someone a call, or to forget about it and move on instead, read a book, sleep, anything to get out of your head.
Defeated now, we are awaiting John the plumber. Shan't be long, he shouts into his mobile. What's gone wrong? It's washing all the time, it just won't spin, I say. I'm on my way, he says. I've just a few small jobs to do, not far from where you live. What he says next makes me say something blue. It's all right, love. I'll bring a massive sieve.
Let you into a little secret. I do like to write poetry myself.
पतन ना मार्ग में पण लोग समझे उन्नति जेवो पतन ना मार्ग में पण लोग समझे उन्नति जेवो न जाण्यु जे हतु तेने हवे तो जाणवानुं छे. Many a path of destruction is considered as a progress by the people these days. Strange that people do not consider the way they follow are in ruin.
Henceforward shall our time be plainly read. Down the nave I catch the twofold beat of those full-weighted moments overhead. And hark, the hour goes clanging down the street. To the open plain, how sweet at eventide.
I am yesterday, but you are today. Yesterday was dark. Yesterday was nameless.
Yesterday was soundless. Put yesterday aside.
Oh, how your face became a blur, the more and more distant you were. Oh, how I tried so hard to remember your face, your smile, your laugh. Oh, how I sit in the corner of my room and cry. No sound, just tears.
Poetry in all its forms, whether it's writing music or rap or just words plucked out of the air, we know that that connects us to another side of humanity. And I absolutely love this group.
What value can find the face of a child whose hunger once met is followed by a smile? Let us shed what was, right off whose fault. Instead, let's gather and fill that vault. Let's pile it high till the doors won't shut and help to end this common day rut. So bring forth your tins, your cartons, your packs. March to the stores and bring carriers back. Let trolleys be filled. Kindness, take flight. Supermarket doorways struggle with height. In closing, I add, to the food bank few, Batley is proud to stand by. How old are you, brother? How old are you? 6. From 6. We've got from 6 to 79. I was going to say. So they're gone. And I think This is about Batley Food Bank. Beyond the back of Square's Town Hall lies a vault of precious ore. A bank that deals not in silver nor gold, but a commodity of priceless from times of old. A chamber filled by goodwill dues, a priceless stash of treasured food. I speak not of those centuries gone, but ask this day of what we have done. In earnest this town, in gratitude thanks the helping hands of Batley Food Bank. But do not yield your ears just yet, sadly in fear I must regret. For whilst these heroes soldier on, the lot of the bank has already gone. A need exists for gifts not rich, donations are needed to rest this itch. Of foodstuffs simple, easy and near, the plea for aid is far too clear. Basic toiletries, tins of meat, and long-life milk is what they seek, for desperate neighbours who struggle to feed, who watch their children hungry in need. What value can find the face of a child whose hunger once met is followed by a smile? Let us shed what was, right off whose fault. Instead, let's gather and fill that vault. Let's pile it high till the doors won't shut and help to end this common day rut. So bring forth your tins, your cartons, your packs. March to the stores and bring carriers back. Let trolleys be filled. Kindness, take flight. Supermarket doorways struggle with height. In closing, I add, to the food bank few, Batley is proud to stand by.
It doesn't have a title because titles are really, really difficult to come up with. So I'll just start reading. Your name will not be etched in history, nor your life written for all to debate. In time you will be left a memory, but your actions will outlive any fate. You are the flicker of the small flame, beacons of hope come together as one. You think not of praise or eternal fame, taken over after the setting sun. You give and give until there is no more, and yet you give and give once more again. A penchant for caring runs through your heart. Your example will live without an end. So powerful a candle that you light, all gone are the horrors that fill the night. Thank you.
The poem is called First Batley Star Memories. It happened during the great get-together weekend. The weather was lovely, and after a jam-packed day of events, I walked from home to Memorial Gardens. Hundreds of people attended the Batley Star last year. In a vibrant atmosphere of learning and understanding, speeches and performances to a diverse audience, it could have gone better, thanks to the organisers. I really love watching the school children perform. If they could do it, then so could I. A supportive audience of familiar and new faces, my poem back community, now on the Batley Poets website. I enjoyed attending the first Batley Star last year, and this second one will evoke memories too. Connections formed and conversations had. There's less people that are battling down, I'm sure you'll agree.
With the chatter of nature's early risings, the earth revolves.
A beautiful soul has left us a legacy of care, wise words to teach acceptance, spread compassion everywhere.
Bringing together our differences can sometimes surprise us all. That which we thought divided us may well be a uniting call.
Embracing that spirit of unity, Batley folk of all faiths and none will strengthen our community and work and play as one.
Like our love of food and poetry, the Wilton Park we call Batley Park. Our community unites in Batley. Diverse volunteers make their mark.
Togetherness is more than just a word. We've more in common. We should not divide. Stigmatising others is absurd. Behind the mask, we're all the same inside.
Alone the single straw shall surely split. Bound together is where it finds its might. Wrap yourself in the weighted patchwork quilt, for all our skins feel the cold of the night.
With the chatter of nature's early risers, the earth revolves a new spring morn, excited, inspired, promising more surprises. Rebirth, reborn, my day to join.
And now we stand in togetherness. Holding hands we pray for all. We fought the divided foolishness. United we shall not fall.
A spirit of community we won't forsake. Ties of friendships we won't sever. These bonds will not break. Not now, not ever.
We are not defined by our singular threads, but the woven fabric that makes the quilt. In its multitude of shades and rich deep depths, our stories are one, our purpose fulfilled. Together.
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 Tomorrow
will
be better.
When I write poetry, it has to be from my heart.
Language of the poetry is same, it is universal. In which language you write, poetry means poetry, expressions of what you are thinking. And it's a beauty of mankind. I think without poetry, I don't know how the people can do it.
Yet standing and waiting in darkening decline, your legacy neglected by the town that you fed. You still hold the spirit of loss and dark grief of children who laboured and ailed.
School will be thinking, they use Zoom for poetry? How?
A future to look to, a future we trust, where backing our town will remain a must. So thrive, Batley, thrive. Spread the word far and wide. That Batley's diversity fills us with pride.
We can't stop thinking about it all, to dissect or not by giving someone a call, or to forget about it and move on instead, read a book, sleep, anything to get out of your head.
Defeated now, we are awaiting John the plumber. Shan't be long, he shouts into his mobile. What's gone wrong? It's washing all the time, it just won't spin, I say. I'm on my way, he says. I've just a few small jobs to do, not far from where you live. What he says next makes me say something blue. It's all right, love. I'll bring a massive sieve.
Let you into a little secret. I do like to write poetry myself.
પતનના માર્ગને પણ લોક સમજે ઉન્નતિ જેવો. પતનના માર્ગને પણ લોક સમજે ઉન્નતિ જેવો. ન જાણ્યું જે હતું તેને હવે તો જાણવાનું છે. Many a path of destruction is considered as a progress by the people these days. Strange that people do not consider the way they follow are in ruin.
Henceforward shall our time be plainly read. Down the nave I catch the twofold beat of those full-weighted moments overhead. And hark, the hour goes clanging down the street. To the open plain, how sweet at eventide.
I am yesterday, but you are today. Yesterday was dark. Yesterday was nameless. Yesterday was soundless. Put yesterday aside.
Oh, how your face became a blur, the more and more distant you were. Oh, how I tried so hard to remember your face, your smile, your laugh. Oh, how I sit in the corner of my room and cry. No sound, just tears.
Poetry in all its forms, whether it's writing music or rap or just words plucked out of the air, we know that that connects us to another side of humanity. And I absolutely love this group.
What value can find the face of a child whose hunger once met is followed by a smile? Let us shed what was, right off whose fault. Instead, let's gather and fill that vault. Let's pile it high till the doors won't shut and help to end this common day rut. So bring forth your tins, your cartons, your packs. March to the stores and bring carriers back. Let trolleys be filled. Kindness, take flight. Supermarket doorways struggle with height. In closing, I add, to the food bank view, Batley is proud to stand by.
How old's your brother? How old are you? 6. From 6. We've got from 6 to 79. I was going to say. So therefore. And I think
This is about Batley Food Bank. Beyond the back of Square's Town Hall lies a vault of precious ore, a bank that deals not in silver nor gold, but a commodity of priceless from times of old, a chamber filled by goodwill dues, a priceless stash of treasured food. I speak not of those centuries gone, but ask this day of what we have done. In earnest this town, in gratitude thanks the helping hands of Batley Food Bank. But do not yield your ears just yet, sadly in fear I must regret. For whilst these heroes soldier on, the lot of the bank has already gone. A need exists for gifts not rich, donations are needed to rest this itch. Of foodstuffs simple, easy and near, the plea for aid is far too clear. Basic toiletries, tins of meat, and long-life milk is what they seek, for desperate neighbours who struggle to feed, who watch their children hungry in need. What value can find the face of a child whose hunger once met is followed by a smile? Let us shed what was.
I am Jem the Lyrical Gangster at Helmet Hall on Twitter. If anyone puts a request in the chat box, I will put my email address up in there. In fact, I can put it up during the meeting today if anyone wants to email me and find out how to get a copy. They are a £5 plus £2 carriage. And as I say, 100% of it will go to charity because the printing, etc., was all funded in advance by GoFundMe. So that's all dealt with. So that's the end of my self-promotion. So we can carry on with it.
I will see what I can do.
Yeah.
But I came from a very beautiful group to come to you, and they're still going on right now.
Oh, right.
So and they happen every week at the same time as you. They start at 1. So I did 1 hour with them, 50 minutes, and then I came to you. I'm just saying I will try to come, but I will see what happens because
the more the merrier. Absolutely, it's open house, so it'd be nice to see you. I'll basically be doing a bit of reading, a bit of a chat, a bit of Q&A and stuff like that, and talk about how the book was done and things like that. So hopefully it'll only be an hour, and hopefully we'll have a bit of a laugh as well. And please make it worth my while. I've actually signed up and paid like 12 quid to join Zoom, so I can have it longer than an hour if I want to. But as I say, the more the merrier as far as that's concerned. Right, let's have a look at my scorecard. It was Jackie up next, wasn't it? Is Jackie with us? You've all moved around my screen now, so it's already confusing.
No.
So Jackie, whenever you're ready, my love.
Okay. This is my COVID poem. It's about the only thing I managed to write. And so it's not very cheerful, but it's not very cheerful at the moment. My COVID poem. I am the sadness for those alone and distressed, unshed tears deflected in anger and fear. How can we grieve caught in a go-void net? Scared you cannot breathe, you will be gone to antiseptic walls, isolated in a clinical world. I am the stillness of this new normal, purer air to feed silence and calm. We stay alone at home in silent fear. I am the difference between before and after in a world of masked fears, distant smiles, grateful waves, ruled by some precarious trust in a muddled media truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. You've inspired me. I think I'll do one of my COVID poems later on because I've done two.
Well, it's only...
What's that? I was very productive at the start of the lockdown. I was doing about one every couple of days, but that soon dropped off.
It goes.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Right. Okay. So next we have Jackie. It should be Mohammed Barber next. If you're ready, Mohammed.
Yes. This is one written in lockdown, and you know, times are tough and all that kind of stuff. But I'm one of those people that when shit hits the ceiling fan, I need a little bit of time to sort of adjust and. But grieve is not the right word, but to take in the situation. But sometimes I'm offered sort of advice and words of comfort that I just don't need at that particular moment in time. It's like, let me adjust first, and then we can move on forward. So this is a poem about that. And I will not say the expletives in this poem. F off with your forced optimism. F off with your fascistic joy and unwelcome enthusiasm. I don't need to hear everything will be okay, or maybe look at it this way, or to not think about it too much, and it's the best thing ever to happen to me. No, because this is not a TEDx talk in the making. Sometimes things go tits up, it goes south, and shit hits the ceiling fan, and it's crap. So let it be crap. For a bit longer. Let me mope and be miserable, gripe and be unsociable. Allow me to give it the time it needs to simmer until the stew is ready, because sometimes I want a pot roast and not a steak. Let me mope, not because I don't want false hope. Let me resign and drag my heels before the stars can align, because this is how I feel and heal. This is how the stars can align again. Yes to opportunity, but not to lunacy. Things are not great, so don't pretend they are, and eventually, everything will be all right.
Thank you, Mohammed. There was an awful lot as a counsellor I could relate to there, and a lot of words of wisdom there about sometimes we just have to let things be, don't we? We don't need all the BS around, things could be worse. We just need to let things settle. And a lot of wise words in that. Thanks ever so much. I really enjoyed that.
I think so. I think sometimes you just need to, sometimes you need to just sort of feel it through, because happiness is a wonderful thing, obviously, and we all want to be happy, but I think it's pathologically insane to be happy all the time. People have you have your highs and you have your lows, and sometimes it's okay to just give it a little bit of time before you kind of pick yourself up again. Yeah. And sometimes people need those few days, or I certainly need a few days and whatnot, and then I get back onto the train again.
Yeah, spot on. Thanks again. Right, so looking down my score chart, I have next up Anne.
Yes, I agree with the previous comments. When people ask how I am, if I'm having a bad day, I say, yeah, not a good day today, but I'll be all right tomorrow. You know, we have to allow ourselves down days as well as good days. But this is the poem I'm going to read now. It's because of my fascination with how alike we all are. And from way, way back, we think we're different, superior. We've all got our humanity in common. And this is called ochre handprint. I saw those, you know, those on the walls in France, where the primitive man, so-called, had put prints of his hands on the walls of the cave. And this is my poem about it, because that was from the Ice Age. Aching cold drove those long ago people to shelter in caves where snow could not reach. The deeper they went, ice gentled its hold, and life sustained for a fraction of tribes that had peopled the land. Did they gossip their days with legends of plenty, of meat for the taking, of fruit from green trees, waiting for when pale light beckoned the bravest of braves? Who first drew an elk, a mammoth, a hunter, on high rough walls that homed them there? Did a shaman, an artist, draw beast to draw beast within their reach? A tribute to spirits, a pure act of faith. The handprints in ochre draw my hand to reach out, to feel humankind's link to our family's past and our will to survive. That's it.
Interesting inspiration there. Did you know, by the way, they actually found some cave painting under the English Channel, which used to be above ground when the land bridge was there, and they found a cave that is actually an air bubble, and it has cave paintings on it, which have been unseen for thousands of years.
Yeah, we are still up those people.
Yeah, exactly.
Still those people.
I'd love to look in that cave, but I don't think my scuba skills are up to it.
No, I saw them in France, but I don't think I'll see those.
No. And next, to complete the second round, we have Lansing Carrier. Are you with us, Lansing Carrier? Are you ready?
I am indeed. Can you hear me?
I can indeed.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of interfaith, I would like to say a happy Diwali to everyone here, both East and West, which from a mystical standpoint represent light, illumination, awakening, and other things such as happiness and delight, which is common to all. Thank you. I wish I could sing like starlings, dart within the foliage of lush green leaves, display the eloquence of nightingales, awakening the flowers with magical words. I wish I could resonate like music, me floating on chords, whispering to the heart, I love you. Then I will dance with illustrious moonbeams, laugh with the shooting stars of heaven. I wish to disperse like clouds of dawn, revealing the splendor of the radiant sun, soaring like the immortal phoenix, to bask in the joys of perennial freedom. I wish I could flirt like the hummingbird, adorned in a tapestry of effulgent light, kissing the cheeks of morning glories, transmitting their light with vivacity. I wish for the smile in the breath of silence, offering praises to the glories of love. Anton Carrier, thank you.
Kissing the cheeks of the morning glories. I love that line. I absolutely love that line. Very lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, it's hopefully we've got half an hour left, so we should have time for another round, and we can extend a little, can't we? We've got the account, so we can go 5 or 10 minutes over if everyone's okay. Great. So we're all going to get another round. That's great. Excellent. I'm going to close with a couple here. And we started talking about COVID, and I wrote one very much at the start of the lockdown, and the second one quite recently, so they're separated by quite a bit. The first one I did at the very, very start, in the first week or two, was called Ode to a Virus. Corona doesn't care if you're atheist or Anglican, whether you're a Buddhist or have visited the Vatican. This pathogen's not fussy. There's no discernment in the virus. Not bothered who you vote for or that you don't like Miley Cyrus. It's just the latest in a series of respiratory disorders, one that doesn't have to wave a blue passport at our borders. Germs don't require visas, they're totally free to roam, while the fear of influenza keeps us all cooped up at home. We prepare for the apocalypse and not just self-isolation, buying enough Andrex to last till Prince Andrew's coronation. The only thing I truly fear if I'm stuck in quarantine is running low on Java. I'm a grouch without caffeine. I've stopped watching news at 10, hearing Boris invoke the Blitz. His pound shop Churchill tribute act gets on my thrupney bits. I'm sick of all the Facebook experts and their theories on causation. Just paint a red cross on my door because I'm out of circulation. And the second one, thank you. The second one I put in the book, I put another quite ranty one. I jotted down the first couple of lines and I literally left it and forgot about it. And I actually found it in my notebook. I suppose like most of us, I do jot down the odd couplet and start things and then forget about them and don't finish them. And this is one of those ones that I found. I thought, oh, that's got something. So I carried on with it. And I finished it about an hour and I put it on social media. And as soon as I did so, a lot of people said as they read it, they could hear it in my voice. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but here we go. This is called Singing the Lockdown Blues. Here we are, stuck at home in the midst of a pandemic. Let's post a meme on Facebook or join Twitter for polemic. Don't dress, don't shave, don't comb your hair or bother with a shower. Every minute stuck at home seems more like an hour. The dogs are restless, the kids are bored, and the wife just drives you mad. I'm filing CDs alphabetically. Yes, things have got that bad. I'm running out of books and magazines too. I'm taking a cornflakes packet just to read it in the loo. I'm sick to death of hearing those who think they know what's best. Tell us what the science says. For sake, give it a rest. Eating gives a narrow view of life viewed through a prism, but coronavirus gives not a single shit for your exceptionalism. Don't gather in groups of 6 or more unless money changes hands. And no trips to the theatre or to watch your favourite bands. Wear a mask, don't travel unless you're an MP or a spad. The message clear to the little people, suckers, you've been had. Why don't you all just worry about banning Land of Hope and Glory, Muslims stopping Poppy Day or some other fairy story? We told you one thing last week, now we're saying the reverse, and it's your fault, not Cummings, that things are getting worse. Thank you. I'd actually forgotten there was the odd sweary bit in there, so we're all grown-ups, aren't we? All right, thank you. So next we have again is Bilal.
Thanks. I'm a Muslim, and I also look after Batley Poets website, which means I get to read a lot of the poetry that's on the website. And I read this poem at the Interfaith Week session last year. It's by a poet called Karif, and it's on our website. And I don't have a lot of faith-based poems that I write, but this is something that is a bit more faith-based, and it's called Is There Not a Corner for Us to Meet? He does not talk to me, but relies on the news. He sees men murder man and wants me to lose all my rights, my beliefs, my faith, my blood. He names me a disgrace, calls my religion mud. She does not engage me in long-held conversation about my views of the news or sexual orientation, my hopes, my dreams of equality of peace. She demands my worship stop or my heart cease. How do I respond when I'm quoted sections of scripture, 14 centuries of existence, now terrorism a permanent fixture? I have not read those damning passages they preach. What knowledge of Arabic, just out of my petite reach. How do I explain when there are no ears to listen, that murderers of humans do not shine in my religion, that I would not hurl my fist at another in anger, that my religion says not to strike friend or stranger, that enemies are best dealt with words of peace, to hurt one another leaves my God displeased, that hell should be my quarters, my burning home, if murder is a reputation I carry to my tomb. Kindness, common threads, and to help are my aim, lending hands to orphans and those in need my only game. To smile as I traverse the world is a reward in itself, and each and every year sharing 2.5% of my wealth. Charity, a foundation, a pillar, 1/5 of my faith. To be a better Muslim, some dress in a modest way. Pilgrimage, fasting, prayer and declaration, the other parts of my religious foundations. Respect, love, tenderness and care. I was taught these things. He and she don't care. They murder and kill, and I'm called the same. Twisted and distorted, my faith is to blame. Tattooing all 1.5 billion with the same needle, enshrining us in darkness and blowing out our candle. We protest for peace, for unity, my family and I. They point and mock, discarding our plea as lie. He and she do not approach me. They fear I am sin, but they watch my every move, my friends, my kin. As they spread their misunderstood verses down my street, is there not a corner upon which we can meet? And that was by a poet called Karif. It's on our website. Hopefully I haven't butchered it.
Very powerful, very pertinent. I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was one of yours, actually. You could have carried that one off.
I just pretended it was mine.
I'll Google that.
I'm gonna maybe have this this small little one.
Great. Yeah.
It's for like, well, it's very, very short. And here's our title. This is not a free verse. It's going to cost you a penny. To unlock the rest, please pay promptly. Thank you.
Say this again, please.
This is not a free verse. It's going to cost you a penny. To unlock the rest, please pay promptly.
Oh, I like that, yes.
You take PayPal?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, and next up we have Mohammed.
Thank you, Jem. I always try to read poems I've never read, whichever session I go to. I have got another one that I actually lined up as my number 3, and then in the course of things, I kind of like thought, oh, I'll find a COVID one, and I did find a COVID one, but it's so miserable. I think we need about a year before I can actually read it. So I thought instead I'll read this one, which is called The Land of My Father and Me. And to give you a bit of a background, I'm Gujarati. My father was born in Gujarat. As I mentioned, was born in Batley. And in the village that my ancestry is from is called Ambeta in India. And in 1995, I visited there after a bit of traveling. And this is very much based on that visit. So it's called The Land of My Father and Me. I arrive on a sleeper train from Delhi, journeying across states whose dust I have brought. Activities of a station, horns on the roads, noise and colour sprinkled like the mad artist had flung his brush. My first foot falls in these jumble upon the land of my father, the soil of a village, the roads of my ancestry. Anticipation in this moment to feel I am part of this place of which I have been told. This house, left as Dad left it. The old veranda shows its age in the worn timber. A single-story building with floors of whipped mud, a cordoned corner for bathing, I'm told. Beside it, the stove that is the kitchen. Bamboo tall and thick, standing side by side in a corner next to the bullock cart. Bats have taken up residency in the attic of the empty house. I break the lock of the trunk, the ancestral collection of plates and books and things. Dad's diaries, recall thoughts, I presume, scribbled in Gujarati. I wonder what it says. Does it share the stories of childhood? Are they of joy or trauma, growing up in this village? The loss of granddad, the loss of granddad becoming the breadwinner before reaching his teen years? Do they tell of the bamboo or the journeys in the bullock cart? Pages dated old hold stories to tell. In this empty house, inside the locked trunk, they remained alive. My search for a place to belong, shattered by spoken words, from the resident villagers who called me the stranger who came and became like one of us. Not one of us, like one of us. A lifetime of thought of the village where I'm from, announced to identify me to others, now turns to another place where I'm the friendly stranger. Yet the soil speaks to me in whispers. Faded footprints still show beneath the grass where my father tread, telling me of my ancestry, the blood that runs within, the language upon my tongue. In its unique variation, the customs and culture connect me to this land, to this soil, to this dust. Though a stranger I be, this land is where I am from. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely closer. You said the best till last year, don't you, Mohammed? Eh? All the deep stuff. Eh? Nice one. Right. So next up we have Jim. Are you ready for us, Jim?
You on your way? Right. I wasn't sure about doing this next one until some of you put in your point, Jem, about the people on social media and the comments they make. This is part of a course I've been doing for next year's lost myself. Next year's Huddersfield Lit Festival. We're doing a Zoom course for some things, and this was what I did for them last week. About dreams, or as I call it, reverie. Sitting here in front of an electric fire, solving Sudoku and watching the news, hearing of death tolls rising ever higher, and listening to all the contradictory views. My thoughts stretch over what is to come, and dreamed of what I would like to see. I'm following the COVID rules, unlike some who wander the streets unmasked and free. I wish that they would think of others and act to protect their fellow man. Act to protect all those sisters and brothers who live in fear of the scythe-wielding man. I dream of a single strong, powerful voice, stifling all those wannabe experts, pointing out a correct, clear-cut, curing choice, long-term health over short-term hurts. Thank you. May I add a short one to follow on, if I may?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Thank you. It's called Worldview, and I wrote it after fielding some complaints about a Jesse Pope poem that I was promoting. So, about the war. Who's for the game? It's written in 1914, but this is called Worldview. Oh, to live in a world where armies are never needed. Oh, to live in a world where everyone's pleas are heeded, where nobody wages war. Oh, to live in a world where everyone's deeds are right. Oh, to live in a world where nobody wishes to fight, where there's no unnecessary gore. Oh, to live in a world that heeds the poor folks' needs. Oh, to live in a world which rewards all pacifists' deeds, where everyone acts for world peace. Oh, to live in a world where ambition is held in rein. Oh, to live in a world where nobody goes insane, where violence and hatred cease. Alas, there is no world where all these things are true. Alas, there is no world where we all get our due. We must live in our world of today. Alas, there is no world where evil has ceased to be. Alas, there is no world where everybody is free. We must live in our world and just pray. Let's work for a brighter tomorrow. Let's work for a world without sorrow. Let's work for this somehow, whilst living in the world of now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And next up, we have Colin. I'm not hearing you, Colin. No, not hearing you, Colin. You're not showing as muted, but we're not getting your voice. Is anybody else hearing Colin?
No.
No, no.
It's probably not connected to audio, I suspect.
Oh, everything looks all right at this end.
You're working now.
Oh, thank goodness for
That
that.
could have been a first. We'd never had a mime on one of our Zoom sessions before. Anyway, you're back on the line. Nice
Thank
one.
goodness for that.
Okay, mate.
Yeah. This is my COVID poem. You've all had a chance to see the effect the lockdown's had on me. Haven't found a barber yet. Actually, I'm nearly at the first birthday of my last haircut. Right, this one's called Lockdown Hair. It's very short. My lockdown hair is everywhere. It covers half my face. People often stop and stare, but me, I think it's ace. My lockdown hair is everywhere. It covers up my ears. I haven't had my hair this long for over 40 years. My lockdown hair is everywhere. It insulates my neck. People sometimes criticize. Do I care? Do I heck? My lockdown hair is everywhere. It tickles me on the shoulder. But now I think it helps prevent me looking any older. I really like my lockdown locks. They flutter in the breeze, an unexpected side effect of shielding from disease. Thank you.
Colin, that was absolutely fabulous. I tell you what, you've been an absolutely productive machine, haven't you, in this lockdown? Marvellous, love
Yes,
it.
it's done some good.
Loving your work, thank you.
Yes, and a nice message from a barber. Yes, I can see that on the chat.
Right.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Right, so next up we have Trevor.
Okay, this one's called Haystacks, and it refers back to my teens when I spent summers working on a farm in the northwest of Ireland. And so haystacks, here we go. Small golden piles of hay strewn across the field, sharp stubble underfoot. Tractor and buckrake grab and drag each in turn to be combined. Pitchfork handles worn smooth by years and greyed with age, stab and twist, turn and toss, stoop and stand, stretch and heave, pile to stack. There's an ancient knack to it, an economy of movement, settling to a balanced rhythm, steady away for the long day. Each one is carefully sculpted, shaped to shed water from late summer squalls, tied down with twisted ropes formed from the hay itself like fibrous golden yarn. As evening sun slides behind distant cows grazing on hillside pasture, we straighten and gaze across the scattered stacks with a gratifying glow of achievement. And I'd like to finish off with a short one as well, a limerick. In fact, there's a Facebook group called Limericks for Lockdown, which I'm a member of, and this is one of my contributions. Now, Pfizer, the COVID crusader, have a vaccine to tackle this raider. While it's not a blue pill, it will stiffen our will to see off the viral invader.
Oh, fabulous. The reason I called my collection No Limericks in This Vehicle is my boss always says to me, because she knows I'm a poet, of course, she'll say, have you written any limericks recently? I say, I don't write limericks, I'm an artist, darling. And she's actually a trombone player. So she calls me a limerick writer, and I say, how's your slidey fart horn? So that's the sort of running gag. So that's why I called it No Limericks in This Vehicle. So in tribute to her. So thanks for that. I really should write some more. If they're all as good as that, I think I would do. Right, next up we have Richard. Are you with us, Richard?
Right. Just a little bit of a silly thing. Well, most of mine are, I guess. It's called ounce. As I walked out one moonlit night, I saw a most unusual sight. Eyes staring straight at me. Sat a spotless leopard in a rhubarb tree. Heart racing, I stood quite still. Was she going for the kill? No, she seductively purred. I have changed, can't you see? Then, as she slinkingly approached, from her shoulders her snowy shawl did slide. No more to hide her spotted coat. No more concealed in the moonlight, now revealed. How could she hide in such a place, and on that leaf leave not a trace? She tensed, prepared to pounce. Of course, she's just an ounce. Then she gave her silent roar. Enlightened, I knew for sure. I awoke with a scream from this most peculiar dream, and an ounce is a snow leopard.
Thank you. So that's the name for a snow leopard, an ounce.
Yeah,
That's
it's another word for a snow leopard.
Right, never knew
Another
that. There
name,
you go.
should I say.
Every day is a school day. Thank you.
But it were based on my ex-wife, that. It was about her in a roundabout way. Anyway.
I'm going to say, perhaps dressed to draw a veil over that one. I'm not sure. Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Right, next up we have Jackie.
Right. This one, we because of COVID and what's been happening in our world, we've got a little bit away from the plastic pollution. So this one was written about that, and it's called Shell. And it's about when you look at what you've got in your house, if you've got anything from nature, you will understand what the hell is it doing there. So this is Shell. Out of context, carved by sea and sand, reflected in ripples, curving, echoing. You don't belong here, intruding in our plastic world. You disturb our reality with memories of seascapes and wilderness skies. But we are destroying your world with our throwaway plastic to strangulate, suffocate and enmesh innocent creatures with no defense.
Thank you very much, Jackie. And we've got, yes, Mohamed Barber is up next.
Hello. So this next one is with lockdown, I think it's given us a lot of time to reconnect with people from our past and whatnot. And I was also doing that. So I got in touch with one of my old school teachers. She was my food technology teacher at I won't say where. So I wrote something that was based on the experiences of those lessons. Now I'm going to try and do a Scottish accent. Not that I can particularly well, but I'll give it a bloody well go. Cut the tomato like a world. A world? Starting with the North Pole and then to Scotland down to Africa. What is she talking about? Miss, what is a world? I query. You know, the world. And eventually it dawns on me. Reverse engineered through the Edinburgh accent, and world reverts back to world. Cut the tomato like a world, starting with the North Pole. The collective light bulb moment of the class. That was week 1. Bags and blazers off, aprons on, and get cooking. The military-like command is given by the Queen of Scots / head of year 11, and we, the humble students, obey the female William Wallace. Tupperware of all shapes and sizes are open, packed with flour, sugar, and butter. Eggs we buy at 10p in class. Is it a scone or will it be a cake? Well, it's neither. Nobody knows what that is. The final bake is that bad. Why is your pasta dry? Because I used 50 grams more flour, miss? You stupid boy. She howls at me with all the rage and disappointment of a pissed off Scot. And I quite agree, dumbass. Round the table, boys. and we gather with our creations for a point-based judgment. This week it's pizza. 8, 9. Where is the cheese? Forgot, miss? You stupid boy. 5, 8. You need more color. Some red. Damn it. I even bought a tomato. Where are your ingredients? Forgot, miss? That's the second time in 2 weeks. Sorry, miss. You stupid boy. You came in before everyone else and still finished last. Why are you so slow, Barber? I don't know, miss. You stupid boy? She doesn't say it this time.
Excellent, thank you. I've got to say, Mohammed, the Scottish accent did get better as you practiced. A man, I could tell you a joke now. A man went into a patisserie in Glasgow and said, "Is that a donut or a meringue?" And the man said, "No, you're right, it's a donut." All right. So my Scottish accent's worse than yours. Fine. Right. To cover my embarrassment, it's Anne next.
I shall do my best. This is response to Collins, just a very short one. First of all, I thought I got it all together here. So I'll read the other one first. This is my Diwali poem, I suppose, reference to Diwali. The colour of light. Colour is leftover light, where matter takes in all it requires and bounces back colours rejected. To be caught by our eye and artists of all schools studiously recording what they believe they see. So a sunflower eats rays and throws back yellows that shout of sunshine. Dust at sunset catches motes to mist hills to distance, as refracted, reflected light giddily mixes tones to soft, as a child playing with paint will mix bright, clear tints, then is surprised that the colour is mud. Light does it better, but then it has had time. I'm interested in all things scientific, although I'm not a scientist, and historical, even though I'm not really a historian. But this is one, Colin, are you listening? It follows yours. Copper, gold, and cinnamon brown cloak sombering woods. The waning year's brilliant crown. Sharp breezes tickle leaves into playful dance under pewter skies. Our fall from the tree should be a dance with the leaves, a celebration of life in blues, flames, and greens, reflecting the light, cheerfully fading.
Thank you, Anne. That was lovely. And as you say, it complements Collins beautifully. And I can't believe it. I should be a television producer because we seem to be running exactly to time. And it's to close the event, which I've got to say, I've had a fabulous time. I've really enjoyed it. And thanks for asking me. Yeah, it's flown by the last couple of hours. So to close the event today is Lantern Carrier.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me take this opportunity to say thank you to all your wonderful and most beautiful poets and for being here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. I wish I could feel now what I felt then. You and I, hand in hand, picking winter sweet clematis, caressing the unseen purple of the redolence on our breaths, throwing snowballs to infinitude. I wish I could feel now what I felt then. Your smile painting its magical garlands on my gaze, my hopes and dreams blossoming like radiant lotuses, nature's sunsets alluring my being with their enchantments. I wish I could feel now what I felt then, heart singing sweetly in the meadow of bliss, my soul bud dancing on the golden robes of moonlight, cradling my longing with speechless rhapsodies. I wish I could feel now what I felt then. Your love like an arrow piercing into my spirit, a bewildering and wondrous wine, intoxicating my soul with the ecstasy of joy. Yet, even as my brush longs to stroke the past, I can only admire the sacrament of the present moment. Dawn is fast approaching. The beloved is playing with each breath taken in accordance with his dreams. Anton Carey, thank you.
Right, thank you, Lansing Carey, and thank you all. It's been great fun, and all I can say is I look forward to hopefully seeing you all in a physical sense at some point in the not too distant future. But meanwhile, thanks for making this dull Saturday afternoons go a little bit quicker and certainly a lot more enjoyable. And I have to go shortly because I've got a date with Spices and Rices at 4:30.
Can I just say, can we just give Jem a massive round of applause for being a wonderful host this afternoon? I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
It's not that I'm asking you to be again next time, but you are absolutely brilliant. You're on the list of the top 3 now. So.
Well, as I say, you've given me some valuable practice for next week, and if any of you want to jot down the link, it's on the chat feature. It'd be lovely to see it at the launch. There's no obligation to buy. They always say that, don't they? But I think we'll all have a laugh. As I say, I'll read poems. I'll give you a bit of background as to my creative process, whatever that is, and I look forward to seeing you there if you can make it. Thanks so much.
Absolutely looking forward to that. I will be there. I just also want to say a big thank you to Bilal. There's a lot of work that goes into this. Well done, Bilal. Without his efforts behind there, I mean, he's managing about 3-4 different things at the moment, just out there. But all the work that he puts in to actually get these to organize these events as well. And we've had obviously viewers on YouTube as well. Bilal, any messages?
Yes, there are messages.
Oh,
I'll go through a couple of those messages.
Excellent.
I think there's United Benefice of Batley, if I'm saying that right. I said it's been a great event. Thank you so much, amazing poets, which it has been. And Mark Umpleby.
Excellent.
The Reverend, the one who always turns up for cake, especially.
Thanks, Mark.
Said it's what a wonderful afternoon, wonderful poetry. Many have really made me reflect and think. This is such a great event not to be missed. Wonderful host too.
Thank you.
And just one last thing before we go. As we've plugged this on every other live stream and event we've had since we've published it, we have a book called The Bards of Batley, which you can get on eBay. I mean, you could be able to get it in the library, but libraries are currently shut. But yeah, there we go.
Good book, worth having.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right, Jem, your last word, mate. You're going to finish this off.
Just really to say again, thanks for coming, thanks for having me. And Bilal, will you step in next Sunday and do the same function for me?
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
Because just that back office stuff is absolutely invaluable, and there's no way, as you know, I could do that. But I can just sort of walk and talk just about, and that's it for me. And see you there as well, Mohammed. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I've got you down in my diary. I shall be there or here.
Great
probably
stuff.
In the same room.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. You take care.
And you.
Bye.
God bless.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
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 Really raining now.